Call this meeting to order. If you would all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all for joining us for the meeting tonight. Board members, have you had a chance to take a look at the agenda? All right, there are no changes or amendments, so is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Hearing none, the agenda has been adopted. Now we'll move over to Superintendent Jesse for his report.
Thank you, Board President Davidson, other board directors, our new student representative, community members, and staff and parents. We had a wonderful start to the school year, getting out to all 8 schools, able to see that the teachers had done a lot of work in their classrooms. So as part of our strategic plan about safe and welcoming environments, as well as high quality literacy, just a lot of work being performed as students come in. They can see themselves really, we talk about purposefulness in spaces so that when students walk in, things can be really well labeled so that when they go in, they know, all right, this is where I can get this kind of information, this is how the expectations are. And then we talk about structures and routines. So we want to make sure that the students can easily have access to those things. Not only a lot of times they get that, especially for our older students, they'll get that on Canvas or another platform in which they get a lot of their notes, expectations and syllabi, but also an opportunity to see these things visually. And of course, for our younger students, you have to run through structures and routines all the time. I mean, it's part of the expectation. So it's been a lot of work by our teachers. We had all of our bus drivers hired. We had a full stable of bus drivers, so all our routes ran the first day. I know I have a couple bus drivers have a couple leaves coming up, so there'll be some appointments. Folks will be out, so every time we're a little short on subs, so I will make my plug that if someone is interested in being a substitute bus driver, we are absolutely would welcome you. Just simply call the main line and we'll help walk you through that step. So as you take one step with buses, there's always something else there, but I feel really good about that. Watching all the buses line all the way up and around the corner. It's really nice, kids getting on there. Thanks for the patience on the parents. They're always the first week just trying to mellow out the routes. Also updating information from families, so sometimes when we don't have all necessarily the accurate information of where students live, especially for our young ones, it does slow us down a little bit, and so we have to figure out the timing and make sure we get those things done for them. I've also seen the students express a ton of excitement about this school year coming in. I've heard many comments, I can't wait to be here. Just get the school year started. Many students, especially our secondary students, really doing a great job navigating school. A lot of our multi-day orientation before school starts really is helpful for them about not only just where are my classes at, but what are the expectations, how do I navigate common spaces for them. Those are all really good things to help us just get started right away into the school year and getting started in our core academics. My last comment is around, we had an open house at Shelton High School last Friday. A very lovely event, for sure. We had a DJ. There was something for everyone, I think, at that particular event. So that we had the students with tables. We also had Cedar and Choice there, so there was activities, what's going on that we offer here in the Shelton School District for high schoolers. Really is quite a lot for our students. I feel very fortunate to serve in a district that there's a lot of community support and that the students really step up into leadership roles. So many activities and clubs. Our staff stayed there, helped answer questions for each of the departments, what's being offered, what are the courses, expectations, how do you navigate high school. That was fun as well. And then, of course, there was the football game for Shelton High School afterwards against Bremerton. So a lot of stands were packed. So lots of excitement for the school year. Again, I think it's gone very smoothly. You know, even in our best intentions of planning for them, there can be hiccups sometimes, but this one seems to be going very well for us. So I feel very fortunate. And so we're continuing to work really hard to offer tremendous services to our students and our families. So with that, I'll hand it back to you.
All right. Thank you very much for the report. And I know several of us were at many of those events, and they were actually really great. It was great to see that much of the community there and the students and staff. All right, going into community comments. We do have several again, so I am going to state right off the bat that each comment will be held to 3 minutes. I will call time at the 3-minute mark. I'm also going to read the standard language around community comments. As part of the regular school board meeting, the board invites community members to make public comments in person and/or by phone as conditions allow. If speaking in person, please follow the public comment procedure by signing in and stating your name and address at the podium when called by the board chair. If making comments by phone, please dial 1-253-215-8782 and enter meeting ID number 854-3386-9913. Each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the board is not allowed to discuss items that are not on the agenda. The board will direct the superintendent to follow up on any items that arise during public comment as appropriate. The board will not allow complaints against an individual staff member or student in open session unless that individual has requested an open public hearing. All right, the first person I have is Barbara Denton.
Barbara Denton, 3921 Southeast Camelchie Point Road, Shelton. I have been a librarian and a school teacher for over 40 years. I worked in the public library and the school libraries. I was in the middle school for 27 years. When I read about the fact that you're having parents complaining about books, it hit me to my core because I have also had that happen over and over again with things as simple as Rapunzel because her mother locked her in a tower. And I know that today's literature is not the same as it has been, but I really want to commend the board and the teachers and the faculty who work on selecting their books, taking the careful time that they do. I know it's not a draw out of a hat process. It's done with care and consideration. And please do not let a few disgruntled people who do not like something in a particular book sway what you're doing. But look at the reviews, check your books carefully. Then if you deem as a group that it's not appropriate for the age, then that's fine. But please do not let someone from the outside who does not have the background deem what book is correct to use. I'd also like to commend the board for their flyer that they had with their inclusion. That is so important in our society today, that we take everyone into account without regard to their nationality, their race, their language, their sexual orientation, or any other kind of thing that someone can come up with. I really commend the board for sticking with that and against their bullying process against bullying. It is so very, very important that those things are taught today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. The next name I have is Donna Holliday, and I apologize if I do pronounce anyone's name wrong.
Hi, I'm Donna Holliday, Comanche Point Road. And I guess my sister there took some of my thunder, but I've heard rumblings that there are people that want to get rid of some of you on the school board. And you don't get rid of people that are actually doing their job. I appreciate that you support everybody. Your flyer, all of your information that comes out is very inclusive. I appreciate that. All kids need to be supported, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter what they are. On books, I wasn't at the one school board meeting on July 11th, I believe it was, when people were reading directly from books. And some of what they were reading did disturb me also. I'm not sure I'd want those books, even in a high school level, if that's the content. But there are also, what worries me is where we're going with that. And when we see what's happening across this country, books like To Kill a Mockingbird, books on Rosa Parks, books on Martin Luther King being banned, that's not right. If there were books on white supremacy, read those too. Make up your own minds. Even though I would disagree with that, I still want to read it. I still want to learn about it. I want to understand why. Why do people hate so much? And that's what we need to teach our kids, is to think, how to read something, tell if it's truth or a lie. We need to understand other cultures, other genders. Kids are finding out who they are. Give them a chance to find out who they are. Thank you very much for being a strong board and a strong school administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Thomas Wolf.
Hi, my name is Thomas Wolf. I live here in Shelton. I don't really feel the need to disclose my actual address because my right of privacy is very important, protected under the Constitution even, but I live here in Shelton. The first thing I wanted to say is you're paying this dude $240,000 a month on taxpayers' dollars. How'd you guys come up with that number? He failed in Seattle, and now he's going to come over here and do the same bad job here. I don't support it at all, and I actually think you should recall him immediately and find someone that is willing to do the job at a far lower cost. He doesn't even have any power. Have you read the school boards? You have the power. He has none, literally none. So why are you paying him so much? What, to sit there and look good? You don't even look good in that suit, bro. I don't understand how you're going to get paid $240,000. That's ridiculous. All the things you could have done for the kids, and you want to give this dude $240,000. Are you guys on drugs? I really want to know, like, what are you smoking? That is absolutely insane. All right, and to move on, the NIH, that's the National Institute of Health, so in case any of you are wondering about who's an expert here, I just wanted to say that the National Institute of Health, their studies say that the mind doesn't fully mature until mid to late 20s. Yeah, mid to late 20s. And what are you guys doing? You're pushing political and sexual propaganda to children that are far too young to even understand what you are talking about. I just can't believe that. See, you're pushing LGBT books to children. And they have no need to learn about any of that crap. Their purpose is to have fun and learn things you're failing at, like math, reading, science, that are reaching a national low. Those are your jobs. That is one of the things that is in your RCWs to make sure you are doing. That is part of your job. And you're failing. Absolutely failing. Matter of fact, I think that all of you should be recalled because you have failed your job in the most epic fashion I have ever seen. You are failing at your jobs. And this dude doesn't deserve crap. Now, I want to move on to say that this is not about banning or burning books. It's about what is appropriate and what has value to the child's education. It is not about banning or burning books. You can still buy them online, but why does the taxpayer need to pay for these books to be inserted into our school system? That is ridiculous. If they want to go and buy it, feel free. Their parents can go and make that decision, but you aren't even including the parents in your whole agenda. You're not including them at all. You're just doing whatever the hell you want or whatever you're told by this and by this dude, and that is absolutely ridiculous. 44% of the children in this area, by the way, don't even attend school. You're failing your job on all levels. And before this even ends, I am so sick of everyone saying democracy, democracy, democracy. Even in our pledge, democracy is not mentioned. This is a constitutional republic, and maybe if you went back to school for a few more years, you would learn that. None of you are experts, and you don't deserve any praise here today. You suck.
Thank you. Schuyler Rad.
Hello, good evening. Don't want to touch any spit on the microphone. My name is Schuyler Rad, and I live on Alder Street. Just moved to Shelton in June with my family. We reside in the boundaries of the 3rd District. I was at elementary school for 2 years, and I'm a doctor of educational psychology. I'm commenting tonight to urge the board to support policies that diversify types of assessment. Little history lesson. In the 1960s civil rights era, Congress passed the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which used an equity-based approach for federal education policy. From 1965 to 1994, Congress didn't really care about standardized testing and accountability reforms. But by the end of the 1990s, there was this emergent bipartisan consensus in Congress in favor of standardized testing and accountability reforms, largely led by business groups and industry lobbyists. But they were joined also by civil rights groups, which hoped to use these reforms to document and close opportunity gaps. Although policies like No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 and Every Student Succeeds Act of 2015 stimulated progress in educational assessment, some advances that had been made in that period in educational assessment had been forgotten or ignored. For example, an assessment scored with multiple choice or fill-in-the-blank questions measures competency by statistically clustering answers to test questions. But an assessment scored with a rubric can measure competency by clustering answers to test questions and levels of mastery. This means that a rubric-scored test can measure facets of knowledge and understanding that a multiple-choice test or a fill-in-the-blank scored test cannot measure. I want to share with the board an executive summary I did for a project at a school district in Texas where I got my doctorate, and I hope that helped to ensure proper measurement with rubric-scored tests. I hope this will motivate the board to support policies that make it easy and urgent to diversify assessments given to learners in Shelton School District, because a diversity of assessment types can measure all facets of knowledge and understanding. I just bring it up.
All right, thank you. Marilyn Aaron.
Hello, my name is Marilyn Aaron. I live in Shelton. First off, I have to say it's very nice to see a lot of community members. Regardless of whether we agree or not, I'm happy to see you all here showing up and showing that you care and that you're paying attention. So first things first, several of us, would like an update on the reviews of the curriculum, the book list that you guys approved and adopted on June 27th for the 7th through 12th grade. Particularly in regards to the 10 books that were in question. My biggest concern is the sexually explicit content contained in some of those books, which actually I find slightly ironic. Not sure if any of you have read it, but I'm going to read to you the technology use agreement that my 10th grader brought home for us to sign. As the parent or guardian of the above named student, I have read this agreement and understand it. Understand that it is possible for the Shelton School District to restrict access to all controversial materials, and I will not hold the district responsible for materials acquired by use of the electronic information services. I also agree to report any misuse of the electronic information services to a school district administrator. Now, this is the part that I want you to pay close attention to. Misuse may come in many forms, but can be viewed as any messages sent or received that indicate or suggest pornography, unethical or illegal solicitation, racism, sexism, inappropriate language, or other issues described in the agreement. Now, please take note, some of those books that were read and listed contained information that's actually in the technology user agreement that the parents are supposed to sign to report if their child comes across that information in technology. Just found that interesting. The second thing I would like to ask is for an update on the personnel that have been trained in each of the schools on the administering Narcan in the event of an overdose, and are the staff aware of where it is located? And I'm curious as to what the response time would be to access it, because that's a very important thing to be aware of, how quickly it'll take them to get there, because I'm sure, as many of you know, especially some trained professionals, that time is of the essence. Something else that was brought to my attention is that students are having to sit on the bus. It was mentioned to me at the high school prior to being allowed off in the mornings if the bus gets there too early. They're having to wait and stay on the bus. I know part of it has to do to staffing, but before in the past, I think they were maybe allowed to go to their classrooms and like work on homework, or maybe the library. I guess that's not allowed this year. And then something else that was asked for me to bring up is, how are the student representatives selected for the board? So that is all.
Thank you. That is it for the public comments, but you are welcome to come up. If there's anyone else that would like to sign up that did not have a chance to do that, just let me know after you have announced your name and your address.
Dean Jewett, Shelton, Washington. I just want to make sure that this was sent out by the school district. I appreciate it. Thank you. Gives you a lot of good information. I just wanted to read a section on it. Gender inclusive schools. All students are entitled to an educational environment that is safe and free of discrimination regardless of their gender expression or gender identity. Harassing or treating students differently because of their gender is not allowed. All students have the right to use and be addressed by their requested name and pronouns with or without a legal name change. Change their gender designation and have their gender accurately reflected in school records, including but not limited to school ID cards, classroom seating chart, athletic rosters, yearbook, diplomas, directory information. Identify with, express, and be recognized by staff and student information system as gender other than male or female. I don't think there really is any, but I don't understand that. Participate in sports, physical education courses, field trips, that's maybe include overnight, overnight trips in accordance with their gender identity, okay? Keep health and education information confidential and private, including information about their legal name, sex assigned at birth, transgender, cisgender, or non-binary status. So I guess we're keeping secrets. So if parents call and want to know what their kid's going by, or if they hit a closet library and change clothes, I guess we're not allowed to tell the parents that. It's really good what you do is, start kids knowing that you lie. So if maybe somebody is getting abused, they know just to keep it a secret because it's the school said they could. And Jesse backs it up. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that we were able to read all of that. Obviously, you already know that I do not agree with it in any way, shape, or form. And I don't understand and see how the board would allow that to happen. Because like I said before, you guys control the superintendent. The superintendent does not control the board. We should all sit up here and ask ourselves, what is best for kids? That's what we need to, first, middle, last. What's best for kids? Okay? I mean, it's super, super simple if you break it down. If you guys don't want to accept it, then resign, step aside, don't run again, and let somebody else that wants to be there. Okay? I mean, where are we going to go with this? As a next, are we going to put litter boxes in for the furries that we have running around? I mean, where's the line? Where do we stop? Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time? You would like to make a public comment?
Hello, my name is Courtney Bray. I live in Olympia, Washington. My children are students of the Shelton School District. I just have a couple of really short questions that I hope to get answered later on when you guys speak, but my concern is with the shortening of the drop-off times for our students. It's impacting students' abilities to be able to eat breakfast. A lot of kids depend on the school breakfast and lunch that's offered, and it's been told to me by my children that they're not allowed to eat breakfast in class. So I'm hoping to hear that this change will be temporary, or what solutions will be offered. As it affects students, it also affects the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have any come in over the phone? No? Okay. Are there any other public comments at this time? Okay, there does not look like there are, so we will move on to reports and recognition. 5.01 is the introduction of the 2023-24 Student School Board representatives. We have Zeta Holler, who is not present tonight, from Shelton High School, and Aiden Underberg from Cedar High School. And I'm going to let Superintendent Jesse introduce that.
Great.
I guess I just did, but we'll
No
let you talk
problem.
more about it.
So here, again, in the Shelton School District, we have 3 high schools. Today we have 1 representative from Cedar High School. I'll get in a minute to introduce him. We also have, as Board President Davidson mentioned, Zeta Holler from the Shelton High School, and then we are in process of selecting the student representative for Choice High School. We did update this particular policy and procedure in the 21-22 school year. This was really is about students applying for it, and then it's really contingent upon usually the student or ASB, Associated Student Body rep, or the principal to run a committee. The students interview for it. They do have to have a 3.0 or more GPA and in good standing around their discipline record. So those are some of the requirements for this. They apply, and then it's a great opportunity to serve for up to 2 years, but we want to make sure that it gives everybody a chance. And so I feel very fortunate to introduce Aiden Underberg. He's coming to us again from Cedar High School, which is great. He did tell me he's going to work on his public speaking, so he will get plenty of practice for that. I can't think of one of the better opportunities right here on TV in front of folks. I think he's probably like, oh, I wish he wouldn't have mentioned that, but it's going to be great. And so we really feel very fortunate that Aiden decided to take this opportunity for leadership. I know our student representatives in the past have done an outstanding job representing each of their high schools and asking questions and giving us updated information about what's happening at the schools themselves. I think it's not only something that I think the board wants to obviously know, but the public does want to hear student voice about what is your experiences as we go through this upcoming 23-24 school year. So with that, I'll hand it back, and I'm sure we'll hear from Aiden.
Yes, we really value student voice, so we appreciate that you are going to take your time to do this with us every other Tuesday. So at this point in time, we would love to hear your report from Cedar High School.
I'll introduce myself again. My name is Aiden Underberg. I'm a senior at Cedar High School. It is my 2nd year being there, and I'm their school board representative. Had a nice first 5 days back, and some stuff I have is, first off, we have our open house tomorrow, and that the first major project we're doing is our ecology class is planning to build a compost system at Callanan Park starting this Thursday. That is sponsored by Hope Garden and Green Mountain Tech out of Seattle. We have 3 new teachers out of our 7 total teachers, and our first orientation had about 98% of students, including all the new students, and then our second orientation had every student there. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you very much for your report. We look forward to hearing more about what's going on with you and the students there at Cedar High School as this year progresses. All right, next up is the consent agenda. We have a lot of the usual items there, the proposed minutes from previous meetings, personnel report, general fund warrants, associated student body fund warrants, typical items. Are there any questions or is there a motion?
I'd make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Hearing none, the consent agenda has passed. This evening, we do not have any discussion and action items, so we are going directly into board member comments. I'm going to start with you, Matt, since you're right next to me.
First, I would like to thank everybody that put together the open house and tailgate party thing at the high school the other night. I had a great time. I met a lot of really cool teachers. I'm excited to see how the kids progress through the year. It was just neat. I did geek out on the drama department just a little bit when I was explaining to them how some of the old equipment worked. They were surprised. One of the things that I've been wrestling with recently, and it really came to light at the football game and then again here tonight. I want to thank everybody that shows up, even the people that we don't necessarily agree with. Civil discourse is how we have incremental change in the world. I saw a bunch of people that I know have gone chest to chest in disagreements, and then at the football game, we're all cheering for the same people. We're all fighting for the kids. I can't thank you enough for being here. So, yeah. As far as Aiden Underberg goes, he was one of my linemen a couple of years ago. He probably doesn't think that I remembered who he was. He is a quiet, awesome kid, and you will be thrown out of your shell at the WASDA conference. I hope you're able to go as a student. They do have a whole student session. Embrace this. You're going to have a lot of fun. Okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Director Welander. Sandy, do you have any comments this evening?
I'll second or support what Matt said about thanking everybody that shows up for public comment, community comment. Every voice is important, and whether we agree or disagree, I'm glad to see the discussions being had and the viewpoints that are presented, and want to welcome Aiden. I had a chance to visit with him a little bit before the meeting started, and look forward to working with him, and hope he enjoys his year here.
All right, thank you, Sandy. Carla, do you have comments this evening?
Yes, I do. It's the beginning of the school year, and I just want to celebrate that all the people who have put effort into making a brand new school year and a fresh start for our students. And I started thinking back to my teaching career and knowing the effort I put into it, but it wasn't just a teacher. So I made a short list, and I'd like to, well, it's kind of a long list, but I would like to recognize all these people who work together and make school what it is for the children in our community. And so, of course, we know teachers and staff, they prepare and are on the front line. But the counselors, the physical therapists, the speech pathologist, and all the special services, those are people too that are very important to the success. The administrators and office staff and the central office workers, such as business and HR, all getting those new teachers going and started on their career path. And then the classified employees, that we really need those people to support what we're doing in the buildings. The maintenance and custodial staff who work extra hard to get the buildings ready, and they look so nice again in the fall. Of course, there's food service, and we know about transportation department, and then volunteers. There are people who volunteer and come in. Our superintendent is a hard worker, and I know that his team, they work hard to make sure that we have things lined up curriculum-wise and policy-wise so that we can run a smooth program. So when I was thinking about all that and remember my enthusiasm with a new group of kids and starting a new school, I just wanted to spread that to all the people involved who work hard to make it a brand new beginning. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I do appreciate the speakers tonight. It's really nice to hear people who have ideas and they present them calmly and with respect. That's what we're about, hearing new ideas. And I hope that we can take some of those questions and get answers back to people. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Carla. Lauren, do you have comments this evening?
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank you for coming out and speaking and sharing with us and those who are or will be viewing from home. I'm excited for the new school year and all the great work the school district members are doing and will be preparing for us this year in the upcoming meetings. One thing I was able to attend was the Bordeaux Elementary School revealed their accessibility portion of their playground. They raised money from generous donors and the PTSO to create a fully paved sidewalk to the swing set for students who previously could not get across the wood chips. And they put this beautiful accessibility board, it probably has a better name than that, on the playground for students to communicate. I was really impressed with all of that, and I just wanted to put a plug in for all the concerned parents out there and family members that your school's PTSAs, PTAs, PTSOs are really looking for people right now. And I know for Bordeaux on October 14th, they're going to have the Bulldog Bite auction at the casino. And I recommend you all go to bring money into Bordeaux as a Bordeaux parent. But I would love to hear about other opportunities like that coming up too. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Lauren. And I want to thank everyone for coming tonight too. This is one of the bigger crowds that we've had, and it's nice. It is a busy time of the year with school starting back up. Our previous board meeting was almost 3 weeks ago, and between that period of time, I went and met up with the superintendent at the back to school celebration, and that happened before school started at OMS. It was packed. The road was lined with cars that were parked all the way down through Mountain View. You could not find a parking space in the parking lot. There were young kids, older kids, there were staff from every school that was there volunteering and helping get kids and families resources that they need and get excited for the school year and books. And it was a wonderful event, and it's really one of those things where you see just how much a school and community come together. It was great to see that. Matt and I were able to greet the new teachers for new teacher orientation, which was actually more than just teachers. We had speech and hearing therapists there as well as counselors, so it's not just teachers. And that to me was really important too, because it reflected again too that we had hired people much earlier on than we typically have because of the practices that the school district is putting into place. So many of those teachers were able to go to the professional development and summits before this new teacher orientation. So this was just one final step. And they were very excited to be a part of the Shelton School District. And that was just great to see. As a school board member, I was asked to be on the Land Trust Advisory Committee. This is a group within WASDA for any school districts that are affected or get funds. We do get some funds through the timber sales of the state, and I'm learning about what that's all going to be about, and I will report anything back or any legislative changes as far as that goes. I was able to go to the tailgate party and the football game. I've got 2 high school age daughters who were very interested in learning about the clubs, who also, and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful event. The weather was great. There was a big community turnout. There was music. There were food trucks. There was every club, sports, the drama department, English department, math department. And so you could go up, and it was really nice to see this because I don't think that, COVID hit and a lot of things like that really haven't been able to happen. And this has been one of those times where the community can come and just actually walk right up and talk to anybody in those departments. You could walk into the school, you could go see within the culinary department. It was just a really great opportunity for people to be on campus and connect with somebody there at the school. And so I thank you and your team for all of their efforts with all of that. The first day of school was great. I know that the first day of school, every parent wants to drop off their kids, so the roads were crazy and the parking lots were crazy, but as I drove past many of those schools, you could see that the principals were out and everybody was trying to man things, and it was nice to see all of that. I complete the Board of Distinction application. I do want to thank the superintendent and any administrative staff that helped with that. I took the lead on that, and the due date for that was this Friday, but we actually submitted it today, and so that has gone through, and we will find out how that goes in early November before the WASDA, or it actually gets announced at the WASDA conference. And I want to say thank you for all of you for, if you haven't completed, I think most everybody has, the board self-assessment. That's also important because that is just a questionnaire, and then WASDA will give us those results back, and that just helps guide and direct, what we're doing and how we're thinking. So once I get that back, I will distribute that to all of you. And there's a lot of different events going on. I personally was at the JV volleyball game for the first 10 minutes before coming to this school board meeting tonight because I have 2 daughters that are playing volleyball tonight. So I know that all of us do sacrifice time and events that we could be doing with our families to be here because we do care, and we do really appreciate comments regardless of what those are. We need to have a civil discourse, and we do need to hear what's going on and what the thoughts are from our community. So we do thank you for doing that. We do have one item in the exempt session tonight, so we are going to close this portion of the meeting, sign some paperwork, and probably have, because there is possible action, it's probably about 20 minutes where we are going to go into an exempt session, but then we will come out and do that action in public and then adjourn the meeting at that time. So you're welcome to stick around for the end of that as well. But at this time, we're going to take a few moments to sign paperwork, and then we will head into exempt session. Thank you. All right, we are back from exempt session. It is 7:15. We were looking at item 9.01, the proposed 2023-25 bargained agreement with the educational support personnel.
I motion to approve the proposed 2023-25 bargained agreement with the educational support personnel.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed 23-25 bargained agreement with the educational support personnel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Hearing none, the proposed 2023-25 bargain agreement with the educational support personnel has passed. The only item left is to adjourn, and then we will need to sign the agreements. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move for adjournment.
I second the motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Sorry, Matt.